welcome back to another episode in my What I Eat in a Day series. I thought this would be fun to film because I'm currently on my 5-day smoothie cleanse. So this is just an example of what a full day on that smoothie cleanse looks like. If you guys are interested in signing up, it's 100% free and you can click the link in the description box below. So to get my day started, I have been drinking warm lemon water and taking it with me on the go on my walk with Trevi. And I'm really loving this mug. I got this as a gift at an event I went to a couple weeks ago, and it's awesome. I'm going to try to find it online, and if I can, I will link it in the description box below. When I got back from my walk, I made my matcha latte, and I finally got pumpkin pie spice back. So I made a pumpkin pie spice matcha, and I used matcha powder. I sweetened it with monk fruit extract, added in some of my pumpkin pie spice, about a tablespoon of coconut butter, which makes it super creamy. Topped that with about a 1/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk. I used the vanilla flavor. And then added in my hot water and blended it up until it was nice and smooth. And like I mentioned in my last video, I actually like the coconut butter better than the MCT oil in the matcha. It makes it really creamy and really frothy, and it's awesome. So the matchas have actually been filling me up because they have a fair amount of calories in them from the fat. So I'm not having breakfast until about 9 o'clock in the morning now. And the breakfast I had this morning was a spirulina mango smoothie bowl. And I started with a base of a ton of spinach. And then I added in about a 1/2 cup of frozen organic cauliflower. Topped that with about 3/4 of a cup, maybe a full cup of frozen mango chunks. I added in a scoop of vanilla protein powder. I added in a packet of cordyceps mushrooms. And then I also added in some spirulina powder. And then I just blended this up with a little bit of water until it was nice and smooth and thick. And then I transferred it into my bowl, and the toppings I did for this one was a paleo granola that I found at Whole Foods. It's from Vermont, actually, and I'll find it online and link it in the description box below. And then I also did a generous drizzle of peanut butter because I love peanut butter on top of smoothie bowls. And this filled me up until about 1 o'clock, which is when I had my second smoothie bowl. So for my second smoothie of the day, I have been playing around with a low sugar smoothie option, and this one is one of my favorites so far. So it starts with a base of spinach or kale or whatever kind of greens. I did about a cup, and then I topped this with about a cup of chopped fresh zucchini. And then on top of that, I did about 1/3 of an avocado. I had a frozen avocado, but you could also do fresh avocado. And then I also add in some chocolate protein powder. And then I also use raw cacao powder. And I also did a little bit of maca and some ashwagandha root powder. And then I topped this with about 1/3 of a cup of frozen blackberries. You could also do cherries or blueberries. And then I just blended it up with water until it was super thick and creamy. And this honestly was so good. It tasted pretty sweet, but it doesn't have a lot of sugar. There's really only about 1/3 of a cup of fruit in the entire smoothie. It has that nice creamy consistency from the avocado and the zucchini, and of course it's packed with nutrients. For my toppings, I did goji berries, coconut, hemp seeds, chia seeds, some cacao nibs, and a few mulberries. And honestly, guys, this kept me full for so long. I think it was because of the high fat content with the avocado and the toppings that this really kept me full from about 1 p.m. until dinner time, which was around 7. I did have a few snap peas in between, but I honestly was not hungry to snack, and it tasted delicious. And then dinner tonight was so good. I made these broccoli and chickpea tacos, and I topped them with a creamy avocado sauce and served them with roasted sweet potatoes. And oh my God, you guys are gonna love this recipe. So we're actually gonna start by roasting our sweet potatoes first. So I chopped up my sweet potatoes and I cut them into about 1/2 inch cubes so they would roast fast. And then I put them on a baking sheet and I drizzled them with a little bit of olive oil, sprinkled them with some sea salt, as well as some organic garlic powder. And then I just tossed them all together with a spatula and roasted them at 425 degrees for about 1/2 hour. So the taco filling starts with broccoli. I didn't have any fresh, so I added about 2 cups of frozen broccoli crowns into a saute pan. To that, I added 1 can of organic chickpeas, which I drained and rinsed. And then I just stirred this all together and let it cook for about 5 minutes. And then I made the sauce. So the sauce that I added was miso, some of that Asian chili sauce that you can get at most grocery stores, and some water. And then I just stirred this all together until it was smooth. And I dumped this onto the broccoli and chickpeas, and I just stirred it all together. And then I was just letting this sit and steam for about 20 minutes, basically until the roasted sweet potatoes were done. I did have to keep adding water so that they would have enough liquid and wouldn't burn. And then about halfway through the cooking process, I added in some spices. So the spices that I added were sea salt, ground black pepper, some garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, and a little bit of cumin. And then I felt like it still needed a little bit of flavor, so I decided to add in some spicy salsa. It has a really nice texture. It's not too chunky. So I added about a 1/4 cup of that into the filling, and I just stirred that all together, and again, just let everything cook together until it was nice and soft. So while everything is cooking, I decided to make my creamy avocado dressing. So that was avocado, garlic, lime juice, and cilantro. I added about 1/3 of an avocado into my blender jar. Then I added in my garlic clove, the juice of 1 lime, some Southwestern seasoning, and about 1/2 cup of cilantro. I then topped this with about 1/4 cup of water, and then I just blended it up until it was nice and smooth. The texture was too thick when I pulled it off the blender, so I decided to add another couple tablespoons of water, and I also felt like it needed something that would make it a little bit more creamy, so I added about a tablespoon of tahini. Blended that all up, and it was the perfect consistency, perfect texture, perfect flavor for our tacos. For the tortillas I am using these grain-free almond flour tortillas from Siete Foods. They have another version, which I bought not realizing that they weren't vegan, so I actually ended up tossing those away, unfortunately. But the tortillas that I'm using for tonight's dinner are vegan, and they are awesome. I just pop them in the toaster oven for about a minute to warm them up a little bit, and then it's ready to serve. So I started with a base of cabbage, and then I topped each of my tortillas with some of the taco filling. And then I decided I need a little bit of green, so I added some arugula on, topped everything with the avocado sauce. And that was all I did. You can see the tortillas are a little bit too crunchy from the toaster, so I would have done it a little bit less next time, but they were still delicious. They didn't really fall apart. They crumbled a little bit because they were too crunchy, but they were perfect. It was just the right amount of food for me. I served it with some of my roasted sweet potatoes, and I was super full, really satisfied. It was just all of the flavors that I wanted for dinner, and it was awesome. I hope you guys give this recipe a try because it's really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you want to join the smoothie cleanse, you can check it out in the description box below. The products that I used in today's video are also linked in the description box below. And other than that, I hope you guys have a really great rest of your weekend. Bye!